Welcome to Home Planet, an immersive experience taking you on a climate education journey. Zone 3, the future we choose. In this zone, we explore how our planet is changing due to the effects of climate change. To begin the experience, pull the back trigger on your controller to start. When Michael Collins, pilot of the Apollo 11 spaceflight, returned to Earth after seeing it from above, he described his home planet as follows. The thing that really surprised me was that it projected an air of fragility. And why? I don't know. I don't know to this day. I had a feeling it's tiny, it's shiny, it's beautiful. It's home, and it's fragile. What Michael was trying to explain is what is often referred to as the overview effect, a phenomenon experienced when viewing our planet from space, which inspires a feeling of deeper connection and appreciation for this precious place we call home. Of all the billions of spinning dots that make up our galaxy, this one belongs to you. It gave you the oxygen to take your first breaths, and it will gratefully receive the carbon dioxide from your last. Step forward and reach out to spin the globe with your hand to navigate. Pull the back trigger to continue. The orange dots appearing in front of you are just a few of the places that will be affected by climate change if we choose to do nothing. Let's go and take a closer look at Hull in the United Kingdom. This is Kingston upon Hull, more commonly known as Hull, a port city in the north of the United Kingdom, bordering both the rivers Hull and Humber. Throughout history, this place has endured a number of hardships, and yet in spite of all that, Hull has rebuilt from the ashes into what you see today. Over hundreds of years it has bounced back time and time again, becoming a hub of industry, a vital trade link, and now a home to around 260,000 people. And right in the middle of it all stands a building made from some of the finest medieval brickwork in the country, the Hull Minster. It dates back to the 1300s. A true testament to the resilience of this place. During the Second World War, many of those windows were shattered in the air raids, but they just picked up the shards and turned them into a mosaic window, which is still there today. That's the spirit of this town, in a nutshell, turning that devastation into something beautiful, unbroken, a shining beacon of hope for all to see. Nevertheless, present-day Hull is under threat once again, but this time it's because of the irreversible impact our actions are having on the planet. As we release more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, the world is warming, causing ice to melt, sea levels to rise, and more powerful storms to impact our lives. At this time, Hull faces the second biggest flood risk outside of London, because the land upon which the city stands sits below sea level. Its location upon the rivers Humber and Hull leaves it vulnerable to water from powerful storm surges. Despite the efforts of the local community to adapt, these extreme weather events are still coming. Our actions over the coming decades will fundamentally determine the fate of this area and many others just like it. So let's see what the future could look like. The Earth only has finite resources available, and we're currently in overshoot, using almost double the amount that our world can afford to give us each year. With all this in mind, we can already see the visible effects of climate change through this interactive heat map. As you drag the slider from left to right, you'll see the effects of climate change over the next 60 years. You can see the Earth is getting hotter, causing our weather to be more extreme and sea levels to rise due to the melting ice. Heat waves, droughts, fires and floods are all becoming more common. The question is, what could Hull look like if we choose to take no action? Let's go back and see the difference a few decades could make. For the better part of this century, they tried to stand their ground. They improved flood defences, and they educated the population on how to better protect their homes. They tried to adapt to the changes the best they could. But as the decades passed and the ground beneath them turned to water, they were faced with little choice. During the Blitz, 95% of the buildings in Hull were destroyed. 150,000 people were displaced, their homes bombed, devastated. But they rebuilt, they returned. They were able to make it their home again. But this time, the changes are irreversible. Their home is gone now, washed away. It got so bad that everyone had to leave, shut up shop, abandon their homes and their livelihoods. They had to move on. In this version of tomorrow, the people of Hull are facing a potential 1.2 metre level of flooding due to extreme weather events being made more likely by climate change. Within the St Andrews and Docklands ward alone, which encompasses Hull Minster, there is a population of 16,000 people, making up around 7,000 households. In this scenario, that community may have no choice but to leave their homes. Nevertheless, you still have a choice. Now, to do something. It's not about waiting for the flood and moving on. It's about taking action now to protect the place you call home before it gets to that stage. Even if we collectively stopped all emissions today, we wouldn't be able to prevent some of these changes. However, the sooner we do, the more we can reduce the impacts. It's becoming abundantly clear that we must lower our emissions, or this tide of climate impacts will keep rising and crashing around us. If we continue at this rate, our world could be unrecognizable within this century. We have a narrow window to take decisive steps to sustain our planet. This requires immediate action to slash emissions, build resilience, conserve ecosystems, and push for measures to adapt to a changing world. When you first hear all this, it sounds quite daunting. These events and figures can be alienating, removing you from the lived reality that is happening to you. But there is an alternative future. These pleasant days don't have to end. There is beauty and connection to be found in the precarious situation we find ourselves in. Efforts are being made on the ground to prepare for this future, but more can always be done. It won't be easy. We will need to put pressure on existing power structures to stand with us, to make them see that our planet needs all of us to stand together and protect this precious place we call home. But where there is action, there is hope.